Let's talk about taxonomies. My name is Sarah Toulson, and today I want to share with you some practical, actionable strategies to improve your employee centered user experience through better taxonomy design. Your organization has invested in great content, knowledge articles, catalog items, external resources. But if users can't find what they need, they can't engage in self service. And much of the value that you gain from your investment in Service Portal is wasted. So, we're going to look at some real chaos causing issues that I've seen across implementations, some proven tactics you can apply, and some of the technical nuances of ServiceNow's taxonomy system that you'll want to keep in mind as you structure your content. Because at the end of the day, your content doesn't matter. Nobody cares how good it is if they can't find it. So, first of all, I want to tell you that a chaotic, ill defined taxonomy is more common than you think. And it's a challenge that the largest, most well funded organizations using the platform struggle with. So, I want to first paint you a picture of what some of that looks like. These are challenges that represent multiple clients that I've worked with over the years. One of the first common trends that I see deals with the naming of the actual topics and subtopics. In particular, I see three things that lead to user confusion. First, multiple topics with duplicate names. If IT, HR, and legal all have a subtopic named policies and they all end up on the homepage, users have no way of distinguishing what lies behind those tiles. Another one is vague or even non-descriptive names. This goes hand in hand. If I had a nickel for every time that I've seen a topic named general or other services, I wouldn't be rich, but I might be able to buy a Coke. So, and third, jargon or non-user centric language. I've seen this across all departments using technical terminology or, God forbid, acronyms that are more comfortable for your fulfillers and your content owners rather than your end users. That can make it more difficult for users to browse through. These issues lead to topics that users don't really feel comfy about clicking into. And the longer a user has to spend looking for something, the more likely they are to just give up. One of the second challenges I see uh, that bring chaos deals with governance. A lack of governance means no control or oversight into the overall structure of the taxonomy. Oftentimes, the topics are set up by your content owners. HR creates the HR topics, IT creates the IT topics. And while it's good to bring in your content owners, you do want to govern the overall structure. Otherwise, you're going to end up with these siloed, inconsistent topic structures and content quality that makes navigation worse instead of better. A lack of proper governance can also lead to way too big or way too small topics. I see a lot of content that gets dumped into these really big parent or child categories. This results in a huge number of resources that the user then has to sort through, which results in information overload. All right, so wanted to paint you a picture a little bit. This is what I tend to see when I walk in the door to help clean up taxonomy. Next, I want to give you a few tactics that I employ to begin improving your navigation. First, and this might sound crazy, but get your people involved. Not your fellow implementers, not your admins. I mean those everyday users, the ones that you are building that portal to serve. Let's get their say and find out directly what changes will have the most impact. There are three ways that I try to do this. First, conduct a UX survey. In fact, conduct several periodic UX surveys. Asking your users what they like and don't like, what tasks and information they seek out the most often, will go a long way to helping you understand what's working and where you should concentrate your improvement efforts. Next, when I'm creating a taxonomy, I like to ask users to complete card sort activities to help determine where they think content should go and what those topic names should be. And last, after a draft is put together, I like to conduct task-based interviews with my users. Basically, I'll present them with the taxonomy and then ask them, how would you go about finding this? And then I get to see in real time how their browsing patterns align with the taxonomy I've put together. Getting feedback like this is really going to give you a good sense of what will resonate with users and properly guide them. Next, in bringing that clarity, we're talking about controlling the flow of information. Don't make your users drink from a fire hose. Let them see what they need when they need it. Human brains can handle between 5 and 8 choices at a time, and they really get confused and just kind of stop when presented with too many options. To combat information overload, I focus on developing a bottom heavy structure. Content flows up in Employee Center. When a user is viewing the parent topic, they see the content from that topic and all of its subtopics. This means that you want most of your content living in those lower subtopics where users are going to see fewer items at a time. Think of your parent topics as clean gateways that aggregate content from below. If you put content directly at the parent level, it can get lost without proper highlighting. Which brings me to my third tactic: highlight the good stuff, which is something I often see underutilized. It's one of those details you engage with after your main taxonomy structure is figured out. First, you need to figure out exactly what resources need to be highlighted. I take two approaches. First, what are the users looking for? Look at your analytics. What are you seeing for view counts, for usage on your catalog items? What's being searched the most often? And of course, what do those survey results show you? Second, look at it from the other side. What are the fillers fulfilling? Ask your service desk, your HR staff, your benefits coordinator, whoever's connected to that content in your portal. They can give you insight into those frequently needed resources, especially that information that they get asked about directly because it's not readily available in the portal. Looking at content from both directions is going to help you balance out what needs to be highlighted. Once you know what you want to highlight, we have to figure out how we're going to highlight it. ServiceNow gives us a number of tools to help us elevate content and keep it findable. And many of you have seen these tools before. You can see up there the quick links, which have a variety of placement options. Setting connected content in a topic as featured content, which puts it immediately at the top of that content list, which is really great for using those big parent topics. If you have EC Pro, put EC Pro to work. Use that content experiences, the rich content to your advantage. And lastly, two legacy features that I just keep going back to. Uh, on knowledge based articles, connect related articles and catalog items so they're showing up alongside each other as your user is engaging with the content. And of course, our tried and true standby regular old portal announcements if you need to put a blurb out there, look at a particular resource. Um, and one last point I'd like to make about highlighting content. Remember, you're going to have to prioritize and only highlight some content. If everything's important, nothing's important. Now, we just went over is going to help you design a better taxonomy experience. And we love our platform, but we just can't go willy nilly building a taxonomy without considering the technical nuances and limitations of ServiceNow's taxonomy system. So, next, I want to address a few things about the system that I, as an architect, want you to keep in mind because I've had to implement around these things and I have learned my lessons the hard way. First, let's talk about the mega menu. After you've got your base taxonomy structure down, take a closer look at the mega menu navigation. Remember our rule about the number of choices we want to give our users. You want to avoid a mega menu that's cluttered and difficult to read through. Make use of advanced portal navigation. It is free. Everybody gets it, as far as I know. And it can really help you set up your menu exactly as you need, even if it doesn't align perfectly to your taxonomy. A couple other things to remember about Mega Menu. It only shows a certain number of levels in your taxonomy, so it's not going to show the entire topic structure if you go deep. And you can even limit how many levels it shows using APN. And from a technical standpoint, if you're using APN, Make sure you sync it to ensure it is reflecting any changes you've made in taxonomy records. I've seen a number of people, both devs and clients alike, get caught up on that. Second on here, do not sleep on the quick links. I love using these. They're a powerful tool, but they don't show up in search out of box, at least not that I recall. Add them as a search source to make sure that your users can find these resources, especially if you're using a lot of them. Lastly, and I would say most importantly, pace yourself. Technically speaking, I want you to be very wary of two particular pieces to this. First, moving connected content is annoying. I really don't have a more polished way to say it. The topic assignments live in a many to many relationship table, which does not capture in your update sets. So that XML has to be manually moved. There is a fixed script that helps with the move, but if you are cross posting content, you're still going to want to verify that the content went to all the different topics you put it under. Additionally, keep in mind that moving connected content to prod should be like the last thing you do. I cannot stress this enough. Those records capture the articles and catalog items in their current state and move those records as well. So if you aren't careful, you end up moving a broken work in progress catalog item to prod. Ask me how I know. Second, connecting content itself can be very tedious. This is not me complaining because I've done the work. It's just a part of the process. But like connecting 5 catalog items to your taxonomy, like no problem. But squinting at a spreadsheet to add 100 catalog items to your taxonomy, like that requires frequent breaks, reading glasses, and migraine medicine. So don't try to do it all in one go. If you have other people that can split up the work, even better. And definitely use that bulk import tool when you can. All right, we've talked about the issues we see. We've gone over some tactics to improve things. Now I want to give you some quick wins that you can take action on, as well as some of those pitfalls to avoid. I would say do this tomorrow, but it is Friday afternoon. So do this Monday. Audit your topic names for clarity and uniqueness. This is a great first step to see where you're at, and changing the like only the topic names can be done a lot of times without a complete restructuring, which makes this a great first quick win. To wrap us up, I want to go over the pitfalls we've talked about and some quick tips to combat those points of chaos. First, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Start with ServiceNow's out of box taxonomy when you're doing those initial sorts. Customize from there. It's generic, but it's proven and it gives you a solid foundation. Next, don't go all in with just one content type. I see clients who treat Employee Center like an enhanced catalog browser. All catalog items, almost no knowledge articles. Or the opposite, all knowledge, no catalog items. That defeats the entire purpose of that unified taxonomy. You need both to give users a complete experience. Next, don't launch without governance structure. Set up clear roles and processes for who can create topics, who approves content placement, and how you're going to maintain the standards over time. Just something to get you started with how this is going to work. Otherwise, you're going to end up right back where you started. Next on that list, don't just port over your existing backend category structure and walk away. I get asked about this all the time. What's the difference between topics and the categories? Design for how users think, not how you're internally organized. Categories were designed for content management and reporting. Topics are designed for user experience. They serve very different purposes. And most importantly, don't assume you're done after the first implementation. I say that about all portal work, but especially with the taxonomy, this is true. It's a living architecture that's going to evolve with your content and your users. You'll constantly be evaluating metrics and moving things around to better assist users, especially as that new content comes in. All right, in closing, the big thing to remember here is your content does not matter. Nobody cares how good it is if your users can't find it. Taxonomy has been a central feature to Employee Center since it came out, and it's a great tool at your disposal to improve your user experience and return on investment. Designing and maintaining a good taxonomy is a long term process towards better findability. It's a big collaborative effort, but your users are really going to appreciate it. I hope today that I have highlighted a few things to look out for and ways that you can bring clarity to the chaos. Thank you. And do I have time for questions? Over here. I see somebody asked what advanced portal navigation is, and that's a pretty easy one. This is a newer feature in ServiceNow where basically you can go in and for individual portals, you can take the taxonomy and the menu that is assigned to a portal and fine tune and pick and place what menu items go where. So you can pick, okay, I want this taxonomy item to show up, but not this one. You can do things like that in the advanced portal navigation. But thank you all for your time. I think we are good, and I'm going to hand it over for Jason Company to close us out.